welcome back to the channel VAG Technique. We have visitors from Slovakia with Miroslav. They are putting the RS6 engine from the C5, it's a RS6 Plus actually. We will continue with SQ5 problem. SQ5 problem was a problem in the first video and it continues to be a problem in the second video, right from the beginning. Again, I did allow the customer to buy some parts and unfortunately he bought a whole bottom end, which is good. It's good, we need the bottom end, that was a good decision. However, the engine code on the sticker what he bought says CVUB, CVUC and DEHA, and the code what we need is DEHA, which is that engine what came out of the SQ5. However, the engine code what he bought is CVUB, which means, according to TPS, it's a completely different engine, and they told me there are some different part numbers to everything. So I'm not sure what will actually be the difference. I'm really hoping it will be minimum or none, but still, before we're gonna do anything, I didn't strip that down fully, so that will be a reveal what actually failed, how it failed, and what's the damage, but I think that will be completely dead. And we also, before we're gonna do anything, we'll check the bottom end on this one, if the crank is actually not damaged, if the conrod bearings are fine, and so on and so on and so on. So it will be very interesting to see if we will manage to build one engine from these two. The cylinder heads are back from the machine shop, so they were skim pressure tested, the valves were checked, there was a vacuum test done, and so on and so on. So the cylinder heads will be fine, however we'll have to find out if that is suitable to put back together with that. So we can start. So we start from the back, so this should be number 3 or number 6. There is definitely a sign that the engine was running, but I don't think there's a problem with the bearings. So we'll put them back together, and there's a bit of a dirt how the engine was standing, so we'll clean that up. We will put some assembly lube probably, replace the conrod bolts, we'll check the rest of them, and if there's no damage we're just gonna put it back together. So this is another conrod, another set of bearings. This one definitely have some markings but nothing serious. Okay, so you check the bottom end, you've seen all the bearings, everything seems to be, well, like a used engine really. So we put new bolts, we put a bit of oil on the threads, so now we will tie them 35 Newton meters and 90 degrees, and then we will start swapping around everything what's needed from that engine to this engine. This is the progress so far. I stripped the, well, top part of the engine, high pressure fuel pump, the oil cooler, EGR, the front plate is removed. I'm looking on the table, and then people are just like, it's just swap everything around, nothing to worry about.
There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing at all.
You know, it's like, who will put it back together? So the engine blocks so far looks the same. I didn't find any difference in the bottom end. We will turn the engine now upside down. We still have to take off the AC pump, the alternator, some brackets, and we have to actually reuse the whole bottom plates and sump and everything. So let's continue. Okay, so this is what will happen if your oil pump is greedy. It will suck out all the bearings from the conrods, and then it will kill the rest of the engine. Unfortunately, there was some heavy metal concert going on inside the engine. So yeah, oil pump, we can't use it, we have new one anyways. We have to strip down everything, clean it up, and we will continue stripping it down. I'm not a mechanic, but I think this is a big play in the bottom end of the conrod bearing, which is not there obviously. So all it actually needed was 2 bearings, clean up the engine, and I think it will be fine, but it's too late to do it now. So we have to clean up everything what was removed, what will be used again, and it will be reassembled onto this block.
You're on the front line, everyone's watching. You know it's serious, we're getting closer, this isn't over.
Right guys, so the SQ5 engine TDI, it does looks like an engine a bit, however there's still things to go on. So what we've done so far, the block was supplied by the owner. it was not the best block. It needed cleaning. We checked the bearings, so from our point of view the bearings are fine, the crank has no sign of damage. We put new bolts for the con rods in there. However, there was quite loads of dirt and rust, especially inside the cylinders, so that was taken care of best as possible. And we managed to put the bottom end on. There were 2 gaskets which were replaced. Everything was cleaned up. Of course, there's a new oil pump, which is a vacuum pump at the same time, and we put the sump on. So reason why we replaced the oil pump, even it's quite loads of money for all the material you can see here, is quite simple. We don't know how many bits from the old engine was basically sucked in and what might cause the damage and so on and so on. So all the oil components, like the oil filter housing, the oil cooler which is hidden in the V, was replaced for this reason, but we don't know if there's any small bits inside and it might cause a damage to this rebuilt engine. So because I was working on this engine a while ago and I don't remember, we start putting the cylinder heads on. Of course, new head gaskets, the heads were pressure tested and skimmed. We have new bolts which were put in oil before they went in. They were tied to the Newton meter spec and then 2 times 90 degrees. And then the tricky part was in the middle. I wasn't sure what was the correct procedure, what needs to go in first. So I start putting in the oil cooler, which is already hidden. You can't probably see it, but you know it's there. And I've done a mistake, because the first thing what shouldn't go on was the high pressure fuel pump, because I managed to put it in, but I was quite struggling to tie these 3 bolts which are holding it down to the block. So I have to remove the oil cooler again and then put the high pressure fuel pump in place. We are building it slowly with Miroslav, but yeah, it's taking a bit of a time, because as you can tell there's still few things, and because time flies and I didn't done it last week and I keep forgetting, we are trying to put it back together. But I think we did quite well so far. The front plate is on with new crankshaft seal, along with new oil filter housing and water pump. There's also new oil thermostat inside there with this new cup, and I think we will continue from the sides of the engine. There's going all these holders for the alternator and air conditioning. There's a few more gaskets, a few more housing for the pipes with new O-rings and stuff. So as you can tell, there's still plenty things what needs to go on. I think the biggest problem we'll be struggling with are the turbos, because they are refurbed and we basically send them out with all the pipings and stuff. I do have a video how it was on, but I think that will be a bit of a pain to put it back, and it will take us a few minutes to figure out how and where it should go and all the pipes and so on and so on. Another thing what I'm a bit afraid of is the whole vacuum system which is on the floor. I remember the solenoid should be attached somewhere here and it goes all the way around, so that will be interesting, but let's continue. Quick update on the SQ5 engine. It was again few step forwards and few step backwards. Unfortunately, I did fit this bracket with the new gasket, of course. Put the pipe on, everything was cool. And I was watching in there and there was a hole, and then I figured out like, oh, there's a vacuum pipe coming in there. So the vacuum pump is going to the sump up here, and it's going all the way around around the cylinder heads to the turbos. I managed to clip this solenoid back in place. These two, they will be screwed somewhere over here probably. So next step will be put the intake manifold on. However, I have to figure out how all these pipes from fuel have to go. I think they'll be here or there. We have to see it. And meanwhile, the manifold is here. We will put new gaskets. We've got all of them. And we will try to fit it onto the cylinder heads. I think we put everything what's needed or what we can actually put at this moment. So the next step, we have to put it on the trolley. We have to remove this engine holder from the back. We will be installing the timing chains, which you will be disappointed. You will understand why in a second. The disappointment is coming. 3, 2, 1. We are using old timing chain with the brackets. I did manage to tell the owner that we will need at least this tensioner. And this tensioner is a new unit. Reason why: the old tensioner with the plastic, as you can probably tell, have some metal bits stuck in it, and it was quite worn out. The other ones are not that bad, but still, well, we will be out of budget. So this will have to do for now, and we will put it all back together, time it up. We still have to put the rocker covers back on there, cover up the high pressure fuel pump that will be installing the turbo. We installed the timing chain covers. However, there's a new gasket. Also, there is a new gasket. Next step will be rocker covers, where Miroslav already did put new gaskets, as you can maybe tell. If you can't tell, I can't help you. And we will have to put the new gasket on here, which is for the high pressure fuel pump, and it's a holder for a turbo at the same time. And rear crankshaft still gotta go on. So we will continue. The engine is on the trolley with the subframe, with the gearbox. We are ready to put the turbo on there, which is fully refurb. Let's just see the beautiful condition of a turbocharger. Actually, 2 of them. This is like £1 million later. Beautiful. For the big turbo, I'm quite disappointed in making 300 bhp, but what can you do? It's a diesel. And we will replace all these gaskets, all the seals. We have this old pipe, return pipe for the oil that will be replaced, and of course all these O-rings are replaced. So let's put the turbo onto the engine, and it will be loads of fun to connect the exhaust and all the inlet and everything.
Potom je to EGR-ko. Držím? Ano. A tady máš brakety. No, tady sú hadice, ktoré tu nemôžu byť.
Okay, situation, cold start. You can see the RPM is still a bit high, and unfortunately we put one injector which saw out number 1. You can see that is running lean, minus. There's a new injector number 4 which is running really heavily minus, and the rest of them, number 2, well, 3 went down a bit but still not good. 5 and 6 is definitely overfueling like hell. You can even smell it from the exhaust. So we change 2 for now, and I think we need to change all of them. So let me know what you want to do, because it is a bit too much money still, but I definitely don't recommend to use the car like this, because this is definitely too much. I will contact the company who done the injector testing as well, because they told us they're good, and obviously I don't think they're good. Okay, so the SQ5 is off the ramp. The engine was started, and it doesn't sound really well, to be honest. So as you've seen, the engine was built from a scrap bottom end, or from a scrapyard bottom end. It wasn't a scrap. Obviously the whole bottom end was checked and so on and so on, so we make sure whatever we are building on is in good condition, or in a condition that can be built on. For those who are laughing right now, like, ha ha ha, you used engine from a scrapyard. Well, obviously some people are using the whole engines from a scrapyard, and there they are. So we did build everything what was possible to put on as a used, and we also done everything what was possible to get everything refurbed, so we don't have to get new expensive parts. So the cylinder heads are reused, the turbo was actually remanufactured, so it was a refurb unit. Also the injectors were tested. One injector did fail the test, so they give us a replacement injector. However, after everything was done and many £1,000s later, it is not running properly. Reason for that is we don't know yet. Option number one, the engine is not built good. Option number two, there is a different sort of a problem what we have to find. Option number three, the injectors are not right. So when I'm checking the values on the injectors, the new injector has really low values, so it's running lean. The rest of them are like moving around in a plus value condition. So that means they are overfueling much more than the one new injector. But as I said, they were tested, we were told they are fine, but it is a bit confusing because the engine doesn't sound really right. It is overfueling, you can hear the diesel knock, and also it smells really bad from the exhaust, like unburned diesel. So we're definitely not giving any chances that the engine might fail for the same reason again. So we have to dig in, and basically the owner can't even collect the car because sooner or later it might come to even a bigger problem, and we definitely don't want to give somebody the car like, there it is, drive it, check it, and we'll see what's going on, because clearly something is not right. So we will finish this video here, guys. Well, we built the engine, we've done everything what we could. Unfortunately, it didn't help, so that was the stage one, build an engine. Stage two is in the second video, when we will try to actually find out why the first engine failed, because you remember when I drove the car and it was smoking, it was knocking, so it was really hard to actually diagnose anything in that condition. But we will continue. So I'll probably see you next video with the SQ5. I will try to continue what's going on and why it's actually overfueling. And I'll see you next video, guys. Thank you for watching and take care.